Good afternoon, everybody. This meeting is called to order. Unless has anyone signed up for public comment? I'll now turn the meeting over to Commissioner Connett to preside over agenda items 3 through 8. Mr. Connett.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, Ms. Miller. I understand we have no cases to reconsider under agenda item 3. Is that correct?
Correct. No cases.
We will now consider tax liability cases under agenda item 4. Is it correct that we have no cases on docket 46?
Correct. No cases.
Very good. And I understand that we have no fair housing cases under agenda item 5. Is that right?
Again, correct, sir.
Okay, good. We will now move to agenda item 6. We have no child labor cases on docket 46. Is that correct?
Correct. No cases.
Very good. That brings us to the wage claim cases under agenda item 7. There are no wage claim cases pulled for additional discussion on docket 46, correct?
Correct. None pulled, but you should have received the wage claim short form dissent list for docket 46.
I move that we accept staff recommendations on the remaining wage claim cases on docket 46.
I second the motion except for those cases which I am dissenting, as reflected on wage claim short form dissent list for docket 46.
I concur with the Commissioner's motion, except for the cases on which I am dissenting, as reflected in UI short form dissent list for docket 46.
The motion passes with the exceptions noted.
Correction, sir.
Oh, yeah.
This was the wage claim short form dissent list.
What did I say? I'm sorry. Oh,
Yes, sir. If you could just repeat your vote.
I concur with the Commissioner's motion, except for the cases on which I am dissenting, as reflected in wage claim short form dissent list for docket 46.
Thank you, sir.
And now if we're good to go and correct and legal, I can say the motion passes with the exceptions noted. Thank you.
I jumped ahead. I'm sorry.
So we move now to agenda item 8 in consideration of unemployment insurance cases on docket 46. And please proceed when you're ready.
Thank you.
Case number 3468279, Commissioner Trevino.
The decision is not supportable. The claimant quit his job after he was subjected to inappropriate and offensive comments made to him directly by his manager and a coworker while he was performing his job duties. The complainant reported the details of the incident to HR and then resigned the following day. Since the claimant reported the comments to the employer and because the language used by his manager was egregious enough to constitute workplace harassment, the complainant had good cause connected with the work for quitting. Reverse the AT, no voluntary leaving, chargeback.
The claimant made a report to HR about remarks directed at him by the executive housekeeper. The day after this, he resigned without notice. As such, the claimant failed to give the employer an opportunity to remedy the situation. Therefore, the claimant voluntarily quit his role without good cause connected with the work, and we should affirm the AT decision, voluntary leaving, no chargeback.
Affirm the AT decision, voluntary leaving, no chargeback. Because the claimant first alleged sexual harassment on November 5 and then quit less than a day into the employer's investigation, he quit without giving the employer adequate opportunity to remedy his concerns.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3681170, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is not supportable. The claimant quit his job due to lack of transportation because her vehicle stopped working. And since her start time was at 4 a.m., she did not have access to public transportation or other transportation options. Therefore, the work would not have been considered suitable work for the complainant, especially since there was no evidence that she had previously worked overnight hours. The claimant was receiving benefits when she took this job and worked for less than 4 weeks. Since the complainant was receiving benefits when she took work that did not constitute suitable work and worked for less than 4 weeks, the claimant had good cause connected with the work for quitting under section 207.045 G1 of the Act. Reverse the AT, no voluntary leaving, no overpayment.
The AT decision should be affirmed. The claimant quit her job because she lacked transportation. The employer was never responsible for the claimant's transportation to work. Because the claimant quit for personal reasons unrelated to work, she quit without good cause connected with work. We should therefore affirm the AT decision, voluntary leaving, overpayment.
Affirm the AT, voluntary leaving overpayment. It is undisputed by the claimant that the transportation to work was her responsibility. As such, the claimant quit without good cause when she resigned due to lack of transportation. Section 207.045G1 of the Act does not apply to this case because the claimant has not shown via her burden of proof that her work was unsuitable.
A short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3709746, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision should be modified. I agree that the claimant filed a timely petition to reopen, but I do not contest that the claimant did not establish good cause for her failure to appear at AT1. However, regarding the merits, as in the prior case, which adjudicated the same job separation in a prior benefit year, the claimant was receiving benefits when she took the job, worked for less than 4 weeks, and the work was not suitable. Though Section 207.045G1 typically applies to continued and additional claims, the Act merely states that it applies to claimants who were receiving benefits under the statute at the time the last work began. Therefore, the claimant had good cause connected with the work for quitting under Section 207.045G1 of the Act. Modify the AT. Claimant filed a timely petition to reopen. Claimant did not establish good cause for AT1. No voluntary leaving.
The AT decision should be affirmed. I don't contest the timeliness of the claimant's Rule 16 petition. As to good cause, the claimant missed the hearing because she forgot about it. This does not constitute good cause for the claimant's non-appearance. Regarding job separation, the claimant quit her job due to transportation issues. The employer was never responsible for the claimant's transportation because the claimant quit due to a personal reason unrelated to work. She quit without good cause connected with the work. Should therefore affirm the AT decision. Timely claimant Rule 16 petition to reopen. The claimant did not have good cause for her non-appearance, voluntary leaving.
Affirm the AT, timely petition to reopen, no good cause, voluntary leaving. The claimant did not prove the claimant did not prove that she did not appear at the AT1 hearing because of circumstances beyond her control. As such, her failure to remember the AT1 hearing did not establish good cause for her non-appearance. I find no reason to disturb the underlying determination.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3749419, Chairman Esparza.
We should reverse the AT decision. The employer in her testimony and through other documentation submitted to the commission maintained that they did not receive the notice of maximum potential chargeback. Since the employer's response was late due to possible non-receipt, we should find that the employer's response was timely and resubmit the case for merits testimony. Timely employer response to the notice of maximum potential chargeback, resubmit for merits testimony.
The AT decision is supportable. The notice of maximum potential chargeback was mailed to the employer's address of record, but the employer did not file any response to the commission until over a year after the deadline. Although the employer ultimately alleged that they never received the NMPC, the testimony that they provided was both uncertain and inconsistent. Therefore, since the employer did not provide credible or persuasive evidence required to rebut the presumption of receipt, it was proper to hold the employer that filed a late response to the NMPC. Affirm the AT late employer response to the notice of maximum potential chargeback. Employer's account remains charged.
Modify the AT, timely protest, resubmit. The employer rebutted the presumption of receipt by providing consistent testimony of its non-receipt of the NMPC and filing a timely appeal. We should find the NMPC response timely and resubmit for the merits testimony.
We will resubmit the case.
Case number 3844073, Commissioner Trevino.
Since this case involves a continued claim related to the claimant working as a marketplace contractor in self-employment, there is no separation from employment and the continued claim should be voided. Set aside the AT decision, void the continued claim.
We should affirm the AT decision. The claimant was aware of the employer's requirement to maintain effective transportation. Thereafter, the claimant faced complications with her personal vehicle, which prevented her from performing any work. Since the claimant was unable to perform services due to circumstances which were directly within her power to control, her separation was voluntary and without good cause connected with work. As such, we should affirm the AT decision, voluntary leave.
Set aside the AT and void the continued claim. The claimant's work as an independent delivery contractor for a marketplace platform was not in employment. Thus, there is no separation and the underlying ruling is void. The claimant's honest reporting of gig work earnings should not trigger a new claim and result in the claimant being disqualified from the receipt of benefits.
Short form consent.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3846986, Chairman Esparza.
The claimant voluntarily left his position of employment due to dissatisfaction with working conditions and the amount of time the employer spent investigating his complaints. However, the employer investigated the claimant's complaints in accordance with the information that the claimant provided. After the claimant provided new information about his concern, the employer informed the claimant it would continue to investigate and provide him an update in 5 days' time. Nonetheless, the claimant quit before the employer could provide him with the update. The employer could only investigate based on the information the claimant provided. So it was reasonable for the employer to take more time with his investigation after the claimant provided new information. Therefore, the claimant failed to provide the employer an adequate opportunity to remedy his concerns and quit without good cause connected with work. Thus, we should reverse the AT decision, voluntary leaving, no chargeback, adequate employer response.
The decision is correct. The claimant resigned from his position after he was threatened by a coworker. The coworker had repeatedly directed profanity towards the complainant and also threatened him with physical violence. The claimant followed proper protocols and reported the harassment that he experienced to the employer several times. While the employer did initially investigate the matter, the employer failed to address or resolve the complainant's concerns prior to his resignation. Therefore, the complainant had good cause for quitting since the employer failed to offer any solution to the harassment and threats he experienced. Affirm the AT, no voluntary leaving, chargeback.
Modify the AT, voluntary leaving, no chargeback, adequate employer response. Because the claimant first reported that his coworker threatened him on October 16th and then quit on October 21st when the employer's investigation was still ongoing, he quit without giving the employer adequate opportunity to remedy his concerns.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir. And that was the last unemployment insurance case pulled for additional discussion on docket 46. You should have received the UI short form dissent list for docket 46.
I move that we accept staff recommendations on the remaining UI cases on docket 46.
I second the motion except for those cases which I am dissenting as reflected on UI short form dissent list for docket 46.
I concur with the Commissioner's motion, except for the cases in which I'm dissenting as reflected in UI short form dissent list for docket 46.
The motion passes with the exceptions noted. That concludes our business on agenda items 3 through 8. Chairman Esparza, I turn the meeting back over to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Khanna. We'll take a short pause and change over. Everybody, we're back. Item 9, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding rule adoption. Come on up, Reed.
All right, good afternoon, Chairman Esparza, Commissioners Trevino and Connett, and Mr. Townsend. For the record, I'm Reed O'Brien with the Office of General Counsel. Commissioners, before you today for your consideration for adoption, our final rule amendments to Chapter 809 Child Care Services. On August 19th, the Commission approved proposed amendments to the rules, and those were then published in the Texas Register on September 5th for a 30-day public comment period. We received no public comments. These amendments do two things. First, they give the Commission more flexibility to allow the commissioners to suspend a rule if it helps TWC improve the efficiency and delivery of child care services, or when necessary to implement new child care service delivery concepts or commission-approved statewide initiatives or special projects. Second, they implement the priority waiting list for children of child care workers, and that is required by Senate Bill 462, passed this year by the 89th Texas Legislature. There is one non-substantive change from the proposed version, and it has to do with when these rules take effect. The provision that gives the Commission the flexibility to suspend rules will, if adopted today, go effect on December 2nd as originally planned. However, the definition of child care worker will take effect on January 5th. And that's because the system upgrades that are needed for creating and managing the child care priority waiting list are expected to be completed by mid-December. And so the January 5th date just gives us a little extra buffer due to the holidays. Staff recommends adopting these amendments to Chapter 809. Should the Commission adopt these rules, staff requests the ability to make any minor non-substantive changes to the document as needed to comply with the Texas Register and the Office of the Secretary of State's publication requirements. This concludes my remarks. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions or remarks?
Nothing here.
Hey, Reed, would you go back, the deadline postponement?
Yes, sir.
Was December 6th, or sorry, was December 2nd in the bill?
No,
is that-
that is
I think I
according
just
to,
confused it.
if you adopt today, that's
Uh-huh.
20 days from now.
Okay,
So
that's
where the
it's
December
adoption
2nd
time.
comes from.
Okay, that was it. No questions or motion?
Chairman, I move that we adopt the amendments to 40 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 809, Child Care Services, as recommended today by staff.
I second the motion.
I also vote yes, motion passes. Thank you, Reed.
All right, thank you.
On to my item 10, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding child care statewide initiative. And we have Reagan. Thank you, Reagan.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, Reagan Miller with the Child Care and Early Learning Division. Today, we're bringing before you a recommendation for a new child care statewide initiative for fiscal year 26 to support the development of an early childhood integrated data system, or ECIDS. In Texas, there are several state agencies that operate early childhood programs, and each have IT systems with data on the children served and the services provided. And ECIDS would integrate this data, providing a comprehensive view of early childhood programs and services, allowing us to answer key policy questions. House Bill 3963 from this past legislative session directs the Early Childhood Interagency Work Group to develop an ECIDS and look at opportunities to secure funding. The Early Childhood Interagency Work Group began the planning and design of an ECIDS in 2023 with funding from the Federal Preschool Development Grant. That funding expires in March of 2026. To continue this work, we're proposing that TWC and TEA will partner, each funding 50% of the project's costs through about August 2027 at a cost of $2.83 million. This funding will continue the development and maintenance of an ECIDS. We're recommending that the Commission dedicate $1.415 million in child care and development funds for this ECIDS project as outlined in the discussion paper, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Reagan. Ray, I have no questions. Commissioner John, questions?
No questions here.
Just one question, please. Can you tell us what mechanisms are in place to ensure the privacy of data stored in the system, please?
You bet. So we actually have, TEA has the lead on this, and there are several groups that are involved in the development of the ESIDs. One of them is a group of attorneys specifically looking at data privacy and data sharing agreements between the agencies. So any of the programs that participate will have legal review, and data sharing requirements to protect privacy will be in place.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Chairman, I move that we approve the dedication of child care and development funds funding in the amount of $1,415,000 to support the Early Childhood Integrated Data System Initiative as described in the discussion paper and recommended today by staff.
Second the motion.
I also vote yes. Motion passes. Thank you, Reagan. Item 11 regarding pre-K partnership. Reagan, you're up again.
I am. So for your consideration are several recommendations regarding eligibility for TWC's $25,000 pre-K partnership funding. TWC makes these funds available to new pre-K partnership childcare classrooms that are formed to provide pre-K instruction in partnership with a local education agency or LEA. First, we're recommending that childcare programs that are affiliated with an LEA not be eligible for our funding. The intent behind TWC's pre-K partnership program is to support partnerships between LEAs and community-based childcare programs. We're recommending that childcare programs affiliated with an LEA not be eligible if there are 3 or 4-star Texas Rising Star providers within the LEA's attendance zone, as further described in the discussion paper. Our second issue concerns licensed childcare homes. Now, to date, we have not funded any childcare homes. We have only provided funding to licensed centers. But we did hear of one LEA that might be interested in pursuing a partnership with a home-based childcare program. So in order to ensure that we have eligibility parameters in the event this happens, staff is recommending that childcare homes be eligible for one award of $13,250 and that the funds not be allowed for minor repairs or building modifications. And then our last issue concerns LEA district accountability ratings. Currently, TWC only supports partnerships with high-quality 3 or 4-star Texas Rising Star programs. However, there isn't a corresponding quality measure in place on the LEA. Recently, TEA, who contracts with Texas A&M University System, released a grant proposal for pre-K partnership collaborative districts. And their RFA includes a parameter that looks at LEA district accountability ratings. Staff is recommending that TWC also require that our funding of new pre-K partnership classrooms be directed at partnerships with high-quality LEAs, which we define as those having a rating of C or higher, as described in more detail in the discussion paper. And I do want to note that we remain committed to helping providers identify high-quality partners, regardless of whether their LEA is their local LEA is eligible. If we have a high-quality childcare program that's located in a low-performing district, we will continue to work with them to find high-quality LEAs in neighboring districts with charter schools, or perhaps through that new collaborative district process that TWC and TAMUS are currently procuring for. And of course, any childcare program can partner with any LEA. This would just make them ineligible for the funding that we administer. So that concludes my remarks, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Reagan. Commissioners, any questions?
Nothing here.
No questions. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Chairman, I move that we approve the pre-kindergarten partnerships funding award eligibility criteria and parameters as described in the discussion paper and recommended today by staff.
Second the motion.
I also vote yes. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Reagan. Item number 12 is being postponed for a future commission hearing, and that brings us to item number 13, Local Workforce Board Development Board nominees. Here.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners, and Mr. Townsend. For the record, my name is Kara Levy with the Workforce Development Division. Today, for your consideration, we are presenting workforce board nominations for the following boards: Cameron County, Concho Valley, Heart of Texas, West Central Texas, and we recommend approval of the nominees as presented. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Very good. Thank you so much. Commissioners, any comments or questions?
Nothing here.
No, thank you, Chairman.
Is there a motion?
Chairman, I move that we approve the local workforce development board member nominees presented today for the following: Workforce Solutions, Cameron County, Concho Valley, Heart of Texas, and West Central Texas.
I second the motion.
I also vote yes. Motion passes and carries. Thank you, Chair. Item 14, discussion consider. Item 14, action on Sunset Advisory Commission. Are we there? Hang on, Mike. Reports. Nothing there. 15. Nothing on item 15. Is that why Michael Britt? Come on up, Michael. We're on item 16. I'm with you now.
It's been so long, I'm a little out of practice.
Yeah, I thought so.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Townsend. For the record, Michael Britt, Governmental Relations. As you're aware, the federal government entered a partial government shutdown on October 1st. This past Monday evening, the U.S. Senate amended and passed H.R. 5371, the Continuing Appropriations and Extensions Act of 2026. The amended measure includes a continuation of government funding at the current funding levels through January 30th of 2026. It also will provide full year funding for 3 appropriation titles, which are military construction and VA, agriculture, and the legislative branch. This measure also includes a reversal of previously announced layoffs of certain furloughed federal workers. The measure has now gone back to U.S. House of Representatives, who is expected to consider the amended legislation later today. We'll, of course, keep your offices updated as things progress with the legislation. That concludes my remarks. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Mike. Any questions?
None. Thank you.
Michael, do you have any hand in this?
I may have lit a few votive candles over the last 40 something days.
We appreciate all the work that you do.
Thank you.
Here, here.
Thank you, Mike Britt. Sorry for the misstep. Executive Director's report.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners. Just give you a brief note about funding opportunity we had. I think you're getting briefed individually on this as well, but the Reemployment Services Program, there's some funds available for states to opt in for, make a request for, which Texas did, a little over 6 million. We were fortunate enough to have been approved for just under 6 million, so almost all of it, except for a couple $100,000. Most of that's going to be used to expand an existing pilot in one of our board areas. And then there will be an additional procurement of additional technology tools. Some of that will probably come back. There'll be some approvals that we'll need to get in this part of the process for that procurement to proceed, but that'll be a little bit down the road. But just want to give you a little heads up that we did good news on the funding front, and then still a little more to come on this, but just wanted you to be aware of that this afternoon, and that's all I have to report to you this afternoon.
Thank you, Randy. Commissioners, anything?
I just wanted to say congratulations to the staff that worked so hard for that grant and the funds coming. It's going to be very well put to use. Thank you.
Wonderful. On to item 18. The time is now 2:28. Let me write that down. Workforce Commission is now going to executive session 250B. I think it's that room to discuss the employment and duties of the executive director, internal auditor, executive staff, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and break and we'll go into executive session. Everybody, the time is now 2:43. The commission met in executive session beginning at 2:29 and concluded at 2:42. No action is being taken at the time. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Chairman, I move to adjourn.
A second motion.
Motion passes and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.